Joining us now, our regular US expert, Bruce Wolpe from the US Study Centre. Bruce, walk us through now what happens as someone who's worked on Capitol Hill, and you've seen it before because we saw it in recent memory with Bill Clinton, but what happens in terms of the logistics here this week?
Good morning, Kieran and Annalise. What happens is a two-step process. First, the House Rules Committee will meet overnight tonight to decide on the procedures on the House floor for dealing with impeachment. Impeachment is a privileged matter before the House of Representatives, one of the highest priority items to ever come before the House. So that what the Rules Committee will decide is how long will the debate be, who controls it, are any amendments to the articles of impeachment in order, and then can there be a motion to kill the resolution, it's called a motion to recommit, and then a final passage. So we will have a step-by-step schedule on the floor for consideration of impeachment. And then on the next day, Wednesday in the U.S., Thursday morning here, about 48 hours from now, there would be the conclusion of the debate and a vote up or down with a simple majority, 218 votes required to pass. The latest whip count I saw a few minutes ago indicates 2 known Democrats to vote against. Those were the ones who voted against the impeachment inquiry to begin with, and 12 who are undeclared. But even if all 12 go with the 2, that is 14 votes against among the Democrats. 17 votes are required to deny Nancy Pelosi a majority. In other words, the votes are in line to pass impeachment 48 hours from now.
What happens after that, though? Because is this the final spot where it dies if we can't rely on it going anywhere past the Senate?
Well, the Senate is the ultimate chamber and court. And it sits as a court for a trial of the impeachment charges, and the Senate will, after that trial, vote a yes or no on each article of impeachment, whether to convict the president and remove him from office. But the issue of what that trial looks like is very much up in the air. Mitch McConnell, the Senate Republican leader, has said he's working closely with the White House to figure out what President Trump is comfortable with, what he wants to do, how he wants to proceed, and develop some rules. Now, the rules of the trial can be adopted by a simple majority vote, and there are 54 Republicans, 51 is a majority. The Senate Democratic leader, Chuck Schumer, has proposed about a 2-week trial and the ability for people to call witnesses, and he outlined the witnesses that he wants, including the White House Chief of Staff Mick Mulvaney, who also in his role as head of the Office of Management and Budget had control over the flow of funds to Ukraine, and John Bolton, the National Security Advisor, who left abruptly a couple months ago, who was, by all reports, very concerned about what he was seeing unfold with Ukraine. So, but whether McConnell, the Republican leader, accepts what Schumer, the Democratic leader, is saying, that is up in the air. So we'll see this debate unfold and mature through the Christmas period and in the early days of January.
And when the House Judiciary Committee presented the articles of impeachment, there were echoes of those articles of impeachment issued against Presidents Nixon and Clinton, weren't there?
Yes. The difference with President Clinton was that Clinton was accused of perjury and so a criminal offense. In the instance here of the Trump-Ukraine affair, it really has to do with abuse of power and whether the president properly used his office. But the common thread in both, and going back here and with Clinton and going back to Nixon, is this issue of obstruction of Congress, where the president refuses to cooperate with an impeachment investigation seen at the heart of a very important constitutional issue on whether oaths of office are followed and the balance of power under the Constitution. So that thread is common, and I just know from talking with Democrats in the House and their staffs that this issue of the president refusing to have any one of his people testify and provide documents, that's a burning issue among the House Democrats and their ability to do their job.
Do you think that's enough to persuade any Republicans to cross against the president and support the impeachment?
Certainly not in the House. There hasn't been one Republican in the House who said they'll vote for impeachment. In the Senate, it remains to be seen, but none have broken publicly. As you know from just following what comes out of the Senate, Mitt Romney, the Republican senator from Utah, who was the Republican nominee in 2012, he has indicated some concern about what the president did and so forth, but whether that rises in his thinking to constituting an impeachable offense and worthy of conviction of the president is another matter. But no one expects as things stand now, with everything that's known now, that the Republicans would break with the president and the leadership and support the impeachment, the conviction of Donald Trump.
And the tweets, Donald Trump loves the tweet. New stock market high. I'll never get bored of telling you that. We'll never get tired of winning. And so we see that at the start of, well, on the eve of 2020. And my sense of things is, Bruce, I could be well off and the whole thing could go pear-shaped, but this first phase of the US-China deal, I think there'll be more to come as Trump wants to see this Wall Street ride continue, certainly beyond the election. What's your thinking on that?
Well, I agree with you, Kieran. I mean, this has been a constant throughout the presidency. He is exquisitely attuned to the stock market, and when he sees the market react badly to things that he's done, he kind of reverses course. North Korea gets hot. Well, he has peace talks with North Korea. The markets go down because of China trade. Well, he kind of fixes China trade. So he's very concerned about that. But the larger issue is that he's trying to show the American people, particularly his base who believe in him, and then to get as many other voters as possible to say, I'm on the job, I'm doing the job, the economy is firing, your stock market and your super is at an all-time high, I'm projecting my foreign policy, the Conservatives have won in the UK, I'm doing what you sent me to Washington, and I'm cleaning up the swamp. And so I'm doing what you sent me to Washington to do, and so don't break with me, you should reward me for it. That's one phase of his strategy. The other phase is to absolutely trash the impeachment investigation, just like he trashed the Mueller report, and he got the Mueller report out of the way, and he wants this thing to be out of the way too. And so that has just been a huge wall of noise to undercut the legitimacy in the eyes of undecided, moderate, independent voters, that the impeachment thing is just the wrong track. You want to take care of me? You want to vote for me, up or down? Well, we have an election coming in November. So it's a two-track strategy. I'm on the job, and I'm completely discrediting this illicit witch hunt investigation.
Bruce Wolpe, as always, thank you for your time.
Thank you, Annalise, and we'll see you for the big impeachment vote.
Absolutely. We'll be all over it here on Sky News.